Top of the morning to you laddies, my name is Ghosto, and in today's video I feel like the title and thumbnail are pretty self-explanatory. But if you're as blind as a bat and somehow ended up on this channel with less subscribers than your nan has teeth, then just to let you know, we're redesigning Jacksepticeye's logo. Okay, so first things first, don't worry, I will stop with the accent there. And second thing second, if you couldn't understand what I was saying, we're redesigning Jacksepticeye's logo in this video. But to begin the journey, I started by researching who is Jacksepticeye. Now, just like any typical graphic design student, I didn't do nearly enough research into Mr. Spedicy here. But to boil the mediocre research I did do, here's the gist. Mr. Sean McLaughlin, which looks an awful lot like McLaughlin, is an OG gaming YouTuber who has amassed a staggering 27 million subscribers over his impressive, almost 9-year-long career on YouTube. He also has a sum of over 14 billion views. I wanted to point this out because that means every one of his 27 million subscribers would have had to have watched 519 videos of his 4,785 video collection. Also, with a collection that large, in 9 years he would have had to have posted 1.5 videos every day, which he basically did. He used to have a schedule of 2 gaming videos every day for something like 8 years. And these were not short videos, they were often 20 odd minutes. And then, when you factor in, over the last year, he hasn't even uploaded every day. Like, what the f is this guy made of? Unicorn dust? It takes me 2 weeks to make a video that's 10 minutes long. Okay, so that was a lot of boring maths and quite a bit of rambling. Now, we're however long into the video, so let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you likely already know who this glorious Gaelic gladiator is anyway, so there's no point in me really explaining to you who he is. So let's just get into this. But really quickly, before we move on, who is Jacksepticeye to me, and why have I decided to redesign his logo out of all the other YouTubers? Well, in my opinion, he was the first nice, genuine YouTuber before it was really trendy to just be yourself. He was this lovable, green-haired ball of energy who knew how to make fun videos and engage with his audience. I think I first found Jack around 6 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't quite remember why I started watching him, but some of his earliest content I do remember after doing my research is Stranded Deep, Prop Hunt, and even The Sims 4. Specifically, this video for some reason. Anyway, this man has always been the embodiment of kindness, from how he reacts with his fans to the charity work he does. In recent years, I haven't followed him as much, but I still watch the odd video here and there, especially Meme Time, Jacksepticeye's Funniest Home Videos, both of which I missed by the way, Jack, please bring back at some point, or even a larger game like Resident Evil Village. Now, I remember watching one of his videos a little while back, where he said that he was considering remaking his logo or banner, since he hasn't actually changed them since, well, ever. I'm pretty certain. So I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, which leads me onto the brief of this logo design. The brief is to redesign Jacksepticeye's logo. It has to represent Jack, and it has to be recognizable by new and old members. So now we have the research out of the way, the next thing I chose to do was to make a list of things relating to Jack. Here's the photo of the list I did. I would have recorded the process of me doing it, but in all honesty I couldn't find my tripod to set up my camera. Anyway, this spider diagram, list, thing, whatever you want to call it, ranges from what I first think of when I hear the name Jacksepticeye, which is likely what other people first think of, to his well-known sayings, nostalgic games that were staples of his channel, and random memes that I found and remembered. After this, I began to start designing some ideas for the logo. Again, I would have recorded this process, but alas, my tripod was seemingly lost in the depths of Antarctica, and I couldn't be bothered to find it. This stage was really difficult. Rebranding is never particularly easy, especially when a brand is already so well known. In Jack's case, he has never changed his logo from what it is right now. Cute little old Sam. So, to me, just a graphic design student with only a few years in the industry, this felt like I was given the Apple logo and told, rebrand that, bitch. So as you can imagine, it was quite daunting. By the way, please let me know in the comments what you guys would have done differently in this whole process. I would seriously love to know and learn from you guys as much as I hope you can learn from me. As I like to say, I work best alone when in a team. Very inspirational, I know. Just make sure to credit me when you inevitably use it in one of your university essays. God, those things suck. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so I did some designs. I then chose 3 that I liked the most, and to be honest, I should have probably spent more time creating these ideas, because they were pretty basic and not too exciting. Now, when I finally got around to actually designing, I did record the process because lucky for me, OBS isn't out in the Antarctic, hanging out with my tripod, though when my laptop lags you might think it's in the Sahara Desert, it gets so hot. With that said, the first design really sucked. Like, look at this, it's just hideous. Clearly I had just lost the vision of my initial sketch, and sometimes this happens, so I slept on it and came back the next day having reminded myself what I was actually looking for. After a little while, I got this. Now, I want to try and explain my thought process behind this design to give you guys a bit of context, understanding of why I did the design like this, and to hopefully just maybe teach you guys a little something. This is more for those who are actually interested in learning about design, so if you just want to see the next step or the next design that I did, feel free to skip this part. Hopefully I would have figured out chapters by the time this video comes out, so that's all good. Now, to start, most logos in the modern day are likely considered minimal design. Satori Graphics did a great video recently explaining what minimalism really is, which I will leave a link to in the description, and essentially one of the things that it does is declutter unnecessary information to help attract the viewer's eye to what you want them to see. With logos, it can also help make them recognizable and memorable, as well as in the digital age, it can help make them more versatile. For example, take Renault's new flat logo design. Not only does it look better on a screen, but it can be animated and is still recognizable as the brand Renault. Taking this knowledge and inspiration, with this design, I simply aimed to minimalize Jack's existing logo. This to me made the most sense because Jack has never changed his logo and is now so recognizable by his logo, to completely change it would possibly isolate a lot of people. By simply minimalizing the design, we keep it fresh and new while remaining recognizable to new and old audiences. To go a bit more into specifics of the design process itself, I actually use what's called the golden ratio. The golden ratio is basically the mathematical ratio of the golden section, also known as the golden spiral, which is based off of the Fibonacci sequence. Yeah, I know, it's all very confusing and deserves an entire video by itself, but for now just know that this ratio is often used in graphic design to create natural looking compositions, and in logo design, it's used far more than you realise. So the way I used it in this logo was I took the outer circle's diameter and divided by phi, which is 1.618. I then did this however many times I needed, and this created the basic shape of Sam's eye. You'll be happy to know that this is the most complicated this video gets, but after I did this design, I redesigned my redesign and simply made Sam a bit bigger. This was only because I thought it looked a little bit better, and so I wanted to throw it in there. Before I go on to the next logo, I just need the toilet, so future me, just cut this out, yeah? With the next logo, I tried to simply give Sam a cup of coffee from Jack's company, Top of the Morning Coffee. I thought this would be a good idea just because it includes Jack's company in the logo, and it shows to new viewers that Jack likes a good cuppa. I also thought it was just cute. I mean, look at him. He's so adorable. My third and final attempt at redesigning Jack's logo was a set of very heavy failures. The idea was to have Jack's face menacingly look towards you with glowing green eyes. This was because Jack's face is obviously a very strong image to represent himself with. I mean, duh, but you know, on all his other socials, he uses himself as his profile pic and not Sam. This was a far more radical idea, but sometimes the best ideas are the ones that you least expect. Though that was not the case in this circumstance. My first attempt looked like dog shit and wasn't at all what I had in mind. My second attempt was far better, but still wasn't what I was looking for. Also, it was a bloody huge pain in the arse, what with all the lag, the constant unwillingness for the right side of the face to snap to the left side of the face, leaving this really annoying line down the middle, but we don't talk about that. So, it was at this point I realised Illustrator wasn't the program to be doing this in. I had hoped it would work best in Illustrator since I was creating vector art, but all it did was make the design fall flat. Pun unintended. Actually, that was an awful pun, I take that back. So, I then turned to Photoshop with a far better result, but it still wasn't really amazing. So, I decided to change up my whole approach. Instead of trying to illustrate Jack's face, I mean, just look at these teeth, they are horrible, and I have no idea how to make them look good. I took a recent forward-facing photo of Jack's face and decided to manipulate it to suit the original idea I had. After messing around and having a lot of fun in the liquify filter, I tried all sorts of things like adding fire, glow, flares, smoke, and this was the final result that I came to. Now, it does look a little like I've given Jack as many freckles as a ginger kid, or that there's a bunch of fireflies around his eyes. Neither was my intention, and that's all I have to say on the matter. Admittedly, I don't think this really works as a logo for Jack. I had hoped this would give the vibe of like more energy, you know, similar to how Jack used to be and still is often, but instead of making him feel very energetic, it makes him feel very unwelcoming and cold, when really his whole brand is the opposite. You know, it's about kindness and it's about helping others and those with mental health. So in my eyes, this design has certainly fallen flat. But you win some, you lose some, and at the end of the day, at least we experimented and tried something different. Real quick, here's another logo that I threw together. I've actually had this idea while writing this script and recording this audio, so I don't actually know how it's going to look yet. Obviously, if it doesn't look good, then we're probably just going to cut this out, but it should be a bell, since I felt the bell has become a bit of a staple for Jack and is super versatile. After all, the bell literally represents anything and everything it can. So my only problem with the bell is I don't know if it's outdated. He hasn't really used it recently, so that's my only thought. But here it is. So, wow, doesn't that look great, guys? Man, that's just splendid. Or, you know, if it doesn't actually look that great, then, wow, isn't that a shame? Oh well, guys, I guess it didn't work. But moving on. And here are the final designs that I've done. Now, my final thoughts are, if Jack was my client and he had paid me to redesign his logo, one, I don't know why he would have chosen me out of all the people that I'm sure he has around him and how he knows who I am. But two, truthfully, I would advise him against using any of these designs. But in the meantime, this was a lot of fun to do, and honestly a part of me wishes I could have spent more time in the design phase and make something a bit more out there, you know, a bit more just different compared to just Sam. But YouTube videos take me forever to make, and I don't have all the time in the world, unfortunately. Anyway, here are the logos again. Please let me know what ones you guys prefer, and if you enjoyed or didn't enjoy this video, feel free to give me some constructive criticism. Until next time though guys, cheers.